Hi, I've got a little summer project here for you. We've got some Amigurumi ice cream key rings. Nice and simple, really fast to make, and you don't need a lot of products. I think the main thing you may need to order in is getting some of these, or if you can find one at a local craft shop, obviously that's our key ring top. Now, apart from that, we basically need some double knit yarn in whatever colour you prefer your ice creams to be. I have here some crochet cotton for doing the features rather than embroidery cotton because I find it doesn't split, so it's a little bit better. Toy stuffing, obviously our scissors, and I'm using a 3.5mm crochet hook. Now they are quite fast to make. I've just rolled off a little bit of yarn there, so I'm hoping I've got enough. Now this is the second time I've done this today because I made a little bit of a mess earlier reading my own pattern because I'm very untidy when I first write them out. I do write them out afterwards nice and neat, but unfortunately at the moment they're not very neat. So basically slip knot onto our hook. And we're going to do our 2 chain like I start all my amigurumi, and also very classically as I do 6 double crochets into that first chain. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now the next 2 rounds it's a little bit tight because it's only going to be 1 double crochet into each one. Remembering I am using the UK terms here, not the US terms, so obviously if you're in the US we're looking at a single crochet. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So as I say, so it's a little bit close, so it gets a little bit fiddly these first 2 rounds. As soon as you start increasing it's not so bad. I did 2 then, that's because that's what I do for the ice cream top. So that's 1, just 1 in each, 1 in each, Sarah, 1 in each. That's 3, 4, 5 and 6. So that's our first round, because as you can see it's trying to curl up on itself, so I usually just shove it over my little finger and just spread it out a bit so I can find my stitches. So again, just 1 in each, making sure you are picking up both sides. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Right, they are quick to make. I'm hoping we're going to get this done in about half an hour. Obviously pace yourself, I might be rushing a little bit more than I normally would. Now in the next one we're going to increase. I'm going to do 2 double crochets in one and then 1 double crochet in its following one. That's going to be done 3 times. So we have 2 and we have a 1. First increase done. We have a 2. We have a 1. Last increase, 2 double crochets into 1 stitch, 1 double crochet into the next. So we've got an increase there, so you can already see we're getting some sort of shape there with the ice cream. We're going to do a second increase row even. So we've got 9 stitches now. We're looking to increase a little bit more. We're wanting 12, but I think what we'll do is we're going to do 2 double crochet rounds first, just to sort of lengthen it a bit. So remember we've got 9 stitches at this point, so 2. Got a little hair in there. I think my pussycat's been up here. She's a nightmare for pinching the wool. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get a little bit easier to hold now. So that's our 9. That's 1 round. I'll do 1 more round of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nearly there. 7, 8, 9. This wool's actually a little bit rough actually, it's catching. I really struggled to get the colour, so I ended up getting a cheaper brand. It's okay for general work, but I do find it sticks a little bit on the hook. I mean, this one's a Stylecraft yarn, it's way softer and it's a real cheap yarn to purchase, but it's high quality at the same time, so I do prefer my Stylecraft. This one's not, and you can feel it's a little bit thicker to work with. Right, increase round then. 2 in 1, 1 in the next 2, 1, 2, and that's going to be 3 times. That's 1 set. So we have 2 in 1, 1 in the next 2. That's our second one. 1 in 2, 2 in 1 even. Good job you'll be able to read a pattern. 1 and 2. So we've had 3 increases, so now we have 12 on there. So we're going to need a few rounds to make it a little bit longer here. So what am I up to? That's 4. Remember it's 12, 5, 6, 7, oh, getting tied up, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. That's round 1. We need 2 more. So obviously this ice cream cone needs to be a little bit longer than this. It could be a little tiny weeny one like this. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. We've got one more round of 12. A stitch marker might be a good idea if you've got other distractions at this point. Not the end of the world if you missed a stitch or you didn't increase on one. It can make a difference if you do that more than once though, so please be aware that there is a little bit of flexibility in there, but also you can change the shape quite drastically if you're not careful, and we do want a nice cone shape here. I'm going to risk 2 more there because I have not been counting at all, but I know approximately that would be right. So you can see we've got a cone shape coming. I knew I'd do this. I've run out of yarn because what I tried to do was just take a little bit off the ball. So we're going to show you how I'm going to increase, add on a new set of yarn anyway. So the next round is an increased one, but because I want to just do a joining on my yarn, I'm not going to do this as an increase. So basically I've gone in as if I'm doing the stitch. This is the original yarn that's running out. I pull it through. I have my 2 on there. This is my new yarn. I've wrapped it around my hands ready for crochet. I'm grabbing it and I'm pulling through. So it has pulled through and made a stitch. Now I'm going to tie that off in a second, but I'm going to do a couple of stitches first. So my next one, so you might need to just tighten them up, is going to be our increase. So we increase, then we're going to do 1 in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and now just going to make that nice and long. I'm going to go back to where I've reintroduced the yarn. See these 2? One's from the one that ran out and one's from the new one. Now I'm going to make a little knot in that. Because it's amigurumi, it's going to go inside, so you're not going to see it. Obviously you wouldn't do it this crude if you were doing a cardigan or something like that, but because of what we're doing, we get away with it. And because I don't want it in my way, I'm just going to shove it all inside. Saves on a bit of stuffing as well if you use the wool in there, and we're not wasting it and throwing it away. So back to where we were. We did 1 increase. We need 3 increases like we've done previously. So 2 in 1, 1 in the next 3. 1, 2 and 3. Last increase, 2 in 1, 1, 2 and 3. Now I've just got one more double crochet round to do, so that's just 15 straight stitches all the way around. Now where I attach the new yarn, if you're not careful, you're doing it a bit tight, it's a bit hard to get into because mine's a bit tight there. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. This is why I didn't want the big yarn, ball of yarn, because it catches. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and the last one 15, and I'm going to do a slip stitch as my last stitch because I think it just makes it neat. Not everybody does that, it's not necessary, it's just personal choice. So I'm just going to fasten that off. Now I don't need any of this to be sewing on the top bit because I'll use the coloured bit to sew on. So I was going to tell you to stuff, but obviously the yarn has already part stuffed it, so I'll just put a little bit more in. Don't do it to the top because it gets in the way of sewing up. So we have our little cone. I think it's a little bit shorter than the other one, but again stuff. Oh no, that's about right. So I'm going to use the pink, whatever sort of flavour ice cream you like doing. You could do 1 in pink and put a top one on in the lemon, or a vanilla or a chocolate, or if you've got a I used a wool once which is like a raspberry ripple looking colour, and that was great because it actually ran the colour through the ice cream. So there's different ones you could do. I just thought these were nice and bright, that's all. So we're starting with that amigurumi style again. 2 chain and then 6 double crochets into our first one. Oh, if I can do it, keep still. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then like many amigurumi patterns we're going to be doing 2 double crochets into every single one. That's if it doesn't slip. Let me double check where I am now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. It's that one. First 2 rounds are always tricky with amigurumi. when you then you get going, and it's brilliant. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, I'm doing 2 in each one. 5, and the last one 6. So we should have 12 stitches now. Now, as you can see the little hole, if I just pull that tight, it fills in that hole. That's why you need a good slip knot at the beginning, because that's what you can do. We're now going to do again 2 in every single one. So we've got 1, so we're 2 in each of each one, so we've got 12, so we should have 24 when we're finished. 1, 2, 3, 4, nearly there, 5, 6. Oh, that one didn't want to go in. 6, start again. 7, 8, 9, 10, just 2 more, 11, and 1 more. That's 12. Remember, so that was 2 in each, so we should now have 24 stitches if you're wanting to check on how many stitches we've got there. We're now going to go on just double crochet rounds, and we've got only 4 of them. Doesn't sound much, but when you've got 24 stitches, it does add up. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit of this thread, because what I do is I'm obviously talking and I lose track of where I am, which is not the end of the world, but I should be showing the proper way to do it. So I've just threaded a piece of thread in rather than getting up and finding one of my stitch markers. It's always a handy way of doing it, and I prefer it on smaller things actually to use a thread. So I'm going to go round and we do that 4 times. So if you know what you're doing, again, this is the time to maybe fast forward me and move on to the next section, but it is only 4 rounds, so you won't need to fast forward far. I mean, the whole video I'm hoping is only going to take about 30 minutes, because I do find for some reason that's the distance my camera actually records to before it decides to do a second lot, and I've not quite worked out how I join the 2 together, so it's best if I try and get them under 30 minutes. And apart from the fact, the whole point of this is quick makes, sort of about 30 minutes, see how many things you can get done. So I'm round on my first one almost. Again, if I'd not had that stitch marker in, I wouldn't have a clue where I was because I'm talking too much. So round 1, we need 3 more rounds. I'll try and do this a little bit quicker, so I'm going to go a bit quieter, and like I say, you can fast forward me if you don't want to watch this bit. Hopefully I'm not going to run out of yarn like I did with the cone for this. And so I thought it was a bright idea making little balls of wool to have in front of you. But it didn't work, did it? Good job I had the other one next to me, otherwise I'd have had to mess about trying to find the yarn. So that's our second one. Third one coming up. Or not. There we go. No, it's decided it's not playing. Let's take that stitch out. Again, the beauty of crochet over knitting is there's only 1 stitch, so when it went wrong I only had 1 stitch to pull out, and I didn't lose everything. There's nothing worse than having all your stitches on your needle and your needle comes out, because I'm really rubbish at picking up. I don't really knit anymore. I did knit for a long time, and then I got the crochet bug and that was it. I've not knitted since. If I need anything knitting, I've got my mum or I've got my friend who'll knit me a few bits and bobs. I'm after some socks for Christmas at the moment, so I'm hoping I'm going to get some of those. I'm too impatient to make socks myself. Right, so that's our 3rd time round. Now, oh, good job I'd stopped there. What have I just done with that piece of yarn? There it is. That's the only thing with thread. It is too easy to pull out. You can actually tie it. That's another way of doing it. But I said for speed, I've just done that. So just 1 more round. So that's 24 stitches and we're almost there. we're almost there. We've just got to get that little edge for the ice cream, just to sort of make it look like he's got a little bit of ice cream running over the cone. So this is our fourth, so this is the fourth and the last one. Let's have a double check. Yeah, it is, it's the last one. And so the next bit's just the little frilly bit, which gives us the cone as if the ice cream's going over the edge. Now all this has been done in double crochets, but the edging does have some trebles in there, so if you're not sure on them, you can always pop back to a previous YouTube video which I've got. Obviously if you know what you're doing, that's fine, but again, remembering I'm going to be saying treble, it is a UK term, so do watch out for that. So I'm going to take that out now because I'm going to see easily where I'm going to go. And the next one is going to start with our trebles. So I'm going to miss a stitch, miss, into this one. I'm going to do 3 trebles. 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to miss a stitch. My next one, I'm going to do a slip stitch. So a slip stitch brings it right down. So you can see I've got a little scallop. I'm going to miss a stitch and I'm going to do 3 trebles. 2. So it creates like a little fan. I'm going to miss one and I'm going to slip stitch. I'm going to miss one and I'm going to do 3 trebles. Or not, I did a half treble then. So 1, 2, 3. If you wanted it a bit more random, you could actually sort of maybe do 1, miss 1, because I mean ice cream I suppose doesn't sort of flow down the cone equally, does it? So miss 1, slip stitch, miss 1, 3 trebles. So it doesn't have to be as uniformed as this. You could make it up. You could, like I say, miss 3, just do some slip stitches and then do a little shell shape. So 3 trebles. I'm not overly worrying whether this is going to fit in, because as I say, it can be quite random. So if towards the end, look, coming towards the end now, I'm like, oh, am I going to fit another one in? I think I should, but again, it doesn't matter if not. And so I've never seen an ice cream drip equally. Oh, look at that, actually. That's really lucky. It doesn't always work out that well. I don't know why. Sometimes if you've missed a stitch, perhaps. So we have our 3, and then where we started, I'm actually going to do a slip stitch there. So we've got our little dips with our thing. I mean, when you stuff that, you'll see what actually happens as we stitch it on. So I'm going to fasten off. I did have enough yarn. That is good. Fasten off. I've done that really long because that is what I'm going to sew onto the ice cream with. This one on the inside is not needed, so you can just push that in to there. So you can see we've got our little ice cream cone coming on. Now I'm going to find, I can't find my fine wool needle, so this one's a little bit chunky for me. I don't like it. It's easy to thread with, but it's not so nice to sew with. I prefer a real point, and this one isn't. So I'm going to get rid, in fact I'll cut it a little bit shorter, and I'm just going to stuff this one inside as well. Just stuff it in because we're not going to need it. So I have 1 point, and I'm going to just do that just to get it into position. Yeah, and I'm actually picking up underneath, because I don't want this to be on the top bit. I only want the bit that's the solid cone bit, and I'm going to stitch. Now I'm picking it up. Can you see I'm not picking up the actual shell, I'm picking up the little bit underneath. I'm going to do this a little bit faster than I normally would. Again, try and make it nice and neat. So I'm picking up roughly where the trebles are, the point of the trebles, and then stitching. Stitching's the worst bit of crochet. Well, it's the worst bit of knitting as well, but it's quite satisfying when you have actually finished. Let's have a look. There we go. I'm picking up both pieces of yarn as well. Sometimes when I'm sewing 2 pieces together, I only actually pick up the 1 piece, but because I want this nice and solid, I'm actually picking up both sides of the stitch, if you know what I mean. Oh, I got her in a tangle. Can you see how it's pulling it in now as well? See how it's pulling it in, so this is sticking out more. That just does it naturally. You don't have to overthink it. It will just do it. As long as you're picking up where the straight bit of double crochet is, not where the trebles are. It's quite tricky to show people how to sew up, because apart from that I'm sewing up a little bit caggy handed here because I've got to try and make sure you guys can see it. Right, now don't go all the way around, because remember we have to put some stuffing in there. Your stuffing can very much change the shape. It can fill it out, or don't understuff, because I think that makes the work floppy, and I don't think that looks good either. The dog is barking at something now, and I bet I know we've got somebody at the door. So I'm hoping they're going to be quiet when they come in. So I'm not going to go all the way around, but there you can see we have our little ice cream body, and you can see this sticks out looking like the ice cream's melting over the cone. Now for the eyes, I kept it really simple. They're all just V's. So we've got this cute little sort of kawaii look here, the cheeky little ice cream. And as I said, I've actually used a cotton rather than an embroidery thread. I have used embroidery threads in the past, but I do find they split, and it's very frustrating. So I'm just going to cut a bit of that. As much as I've not finished him off fully, I do want to show you the eyes. So I'm just making a knot in there, nice and solid as well, this is. In fact, because I haven't sewn him up, I can come in this way. So where shall I do his mouth? About there. So I've done this before with my others. So you make like a V shape. It's like just a triangle, and in. I'm going to take it up there. So we've got a little mouth. Okay. In fact, I need that a little bit further over for the eyes. Over we go. So I'm going to come in, and exactly the same as I did with the mouth, and up. And we have a cheeky little eye there. Now I want it approximately the same on the other side. Now, it clearly wasn't somebody at the door, because the dog's come upstairs now. And I'm going to push that through. So you can see we have a little cheeky face there. I think I've done that a little bit close. I think, as you can see on my others, I've made a bigger gap there. I think that would be better. But I can restitch this. The thing is, because I've not actually sewn it all on, I've cheated a little bit just for demonstration purposes. So I'm just going to take that off for now. Now, if you have made this really, really long, when you finish sewing up, you can then take it through with your needle and come up through the center of the top. And then I've actually used, you can see I've used the yarn to stitch on that key ring, because I think it looks neater, and it's also solider than using a sewing cotton or something like that. That's going nowhere. That is nice and solid. So hopefully all that was clear enough. I am going to pop you an actual tutorial, written tutorial on my blog, so there will be a link, and I will finish this little guy. I think I do need, he looks a bit cross. I don't know about cute, that one. I think I need to change his face. So I'm going to leave him to one side, but basically that is the technique for a nice, quick, easy, summery key ring. Make a nice little gift. And I think he's rather cute. So hopefully that all made sense for you. Any questions, please leave me a message, give me a shout, and hopefully I can help out with that. If you like the video, please give me a little like there, and maybe a share and a subscribe. That would be great, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.